do such a great job here.
Yeah. Got a follow-up question from Steve, who's in Texas. We've got calls coming in from just about everywhere at the moment. Tanzania, by the way, unusual places so far. China, they're watching. They're emailing us as we speak. There's people all over Scandinavia. Scandinavia has been really popular. Holland, as we've already discussed as well. People across America, Australia and New Zealand. Wherever you are, let us know where you are, because it's nice to put a little pin in the map there somewhere. Steve from Texas says, to what extent does the specific location of this distillery and the warehouse influence the flavour of the nectar, as he puts it? I understand the water's a major factor. What about air quality, humidity? Is your location really important to the taste?
Yes. We're right on the edge of the Atlantic. It must do something. They've tried, over the past 100, 120 years, they've tried to duplicate the flavour of Laphroaig at other distilleries, and they can't do it.
Right.
And the gales in winter, I mean, when we have the south-west...
you mean it's not always as calm as today, then?
No, that's beautiful weather. Huh? We're tropical, we're going tropical now at the moment, but in winter...
That drives the midges away.
in winter, really, the wind blow from every direction and bring in my house, after when there's been a big gale, my windows are white with salt. I mean, it's just the briny air, so you imagine that must have an influence on the cask, because the walls, I mean, the air goes through, and that's a conversation, great conversation with the cask.
Question, follow-up to that, if you like, from Steve says, if I was able to, because he wouldn't be allowed to, but if he was able to buy a cask of maturing whiskey and take it back to Texas, would it come out the same, or would it come out differently?
Well, first of all, it wouldn't be Scotch whisky.
Oh, that's true.
Because we're governed by law.
Yeah.
It would be American whisky. And I know from experience that if he takes it back to America and leaves it for more than about 18 months, it would not be Scotch whisky in flavour either.
Right.
It would change because of the temperature.
Dryness.
You have got hot summers, some very, very, very much hotter than here, it's very much drier. This all changes the actual maturation of the whisky. Just think, through that wall there, that's the Atlantic. Yeah. And Martine was talking, I mean, we get gales and the seaweed gets on the roof. So this is an actual damp warehouse. And that's what makes Laphroaig, one of the secrets of Laphroaig, is that damp warehouse.
Deliberately damp warehouse.
Traditionally.
Traditionally damp. Well, I mean, deliberate in its location. I don't mean you try and hose it down or anything stupid like that, but I know. OK, we're going to go to another whiskey now, but before I do that, I noticed you've got some plates of cheese in front of you, and it's a good point to bring this in, because we've had a lot of questions talking about whiskey and food, and we're going to address that a little bit later on as well, but you've got some plates of cheese. Cheese and whiskey, yes? Yes,
beautiful. Absolutely. Because very often, well, the answer is wine, but wine doesn't go with all the cheeses. If you have different cheeses and you try, well, we're doing our own little experiment at the moment to talk later. We just taste a little bit, but it's very, very interesting to do the matching. So whether we'll have some complement, we'll have some shock sometimes, but it's the dryness and the fat of a cheese, but will protect the taste bud from the alcohol, and it's just gorgeous. It's a beautiful couple.
It actually complements each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
we were talking...
Cheese and whiskey parties. Great.
Well, that's right, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? And particular cheeses? Any
well,
you've got a
funny enough, we were
there.
talking about the quarter cask. Martine likes Manchego with it.
Yeah.
I quite actually like, there's a Laphroaig matured cheese there that I actually like with it, because it's slightly sweet, and I like the sweetness to go with the quarter cask.
Yeah. And it's from the same island too.
It's within about 20 miles of the island.
Well, it's close. It's close. It's as close as it's going to get. Okay, so food and whiskey, it's not out of the question at all.
No, not at all. And probably if you're trying to cook with Laphroaig, especially probably seafood, fish seems to go very well with Laphroaig. So right.
See if we can rustle some up in a short moment. Bruce Kaler Thompson. Hello, Bruce Kaler Thompson. He is down under. He says, this is such a fantastic idea. It's a pity us convicts down under, his words, not mine, I've got a 6 a.m. wake-up call, which is pretty hard on the rest of us, but great idea, enjoying the show. So nice to know there's people down there doing it all as well. So we've discussed two. We're going to move on to the third one. This is your baby, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yes, in a way. Cairdeas, each year for the Islay Festival, we like to bring something different out for the Friends of Laphroaig and for sale at Laphroaig. And this year, I picked up this.
This is Cairdeas, which
Cairdeas. Yeah. It's
actually one of the questions was a lot of the friends of Laphroaig have never heard the word Cairdeas being said before. Whilst they've read the letters, and I've had everything from Cairdeas to goodness knows what. Cairdeas.
Cairdeas.
Yeah. Okay.
Cairdeas is the English version.
Fine.
We don't talk about.
So Cairdeas, does it mean something?
Friendship.
There we go. That's all you need to know.
And it is basically it's a friendship. Back in 2004, Martine was talking about the quarter cask. I put together a vat with more whisky in it than I needed to fill the quarter cask. At that time, you can see we've got masses behind us. I was only allowed to fill 110 casks. So I had more whisky in the vat. Now, they had been matured in first fill ex-Maker's Mark casks.
Yep.
And I thought, let's run an experiment. Let's put them not back into the same cask, but into fresh ex-bourbon casks again. So you get a double flavour from them. Now, they've been lying in the cask for nearly 4 years now. I tested them late last summer, and they had matured. Now, what you've got to think about is that the whisky in there is between 9 and 14 years old. We never talk about average ages, but that's the age range. Now, I thought it was just about right, but we needed just something slightly different. And way back in the late 1800s, the original blenders had something they called a power egg. Now, that's a small amount of old whisky, different whisky that you put into a blend that actually changes the flavour. It's like adding vanilla to custard. It makes it completely different.
Sure.
And I happened to happen upon 2 butts of 17-year-old second fill ex-sherry casks that were absolutely superb. I mixed it with this. So this is a mix of whiskies from 9 years old up to 17 years old. Now, when you pick it up, it's bottled at 55%. Now, when you smell that, normally with a high-strength whiskey, you actually smell alcohol. With this one, you don't. First thing you get through there, it's spice. You get a lot of the spices like nutmeg and cinnamon. You get a creaminess, but you also get the smoke, and there's a slight dustiness behind it.
Little earthy.
Yeah, it's like a dead fire in a way. It's like the embers of a fire, slightly earthy.
When the rain falls on it and just dying, dying bonfire.
Wet embers of a fire. That's a good description.
But this is one of the ones I always use this with. I always drink some water and then some whiskey to get the flavour.
See, you can't talk then. That's good. Okay. See, you still can't answer back. That's good. Whilst you're doing that, Stefan, who's one of the many Scandinavians, we've got loads of Scandinavians watching this, so thank you very much indeed for staying with us. Why did you adjust the colour of the Cairdeas with caramel?
It isn't.
It isn't, thank you.
It's not right. If you'd like to pick up the carton for it, you'll see on the back of it, it says there's colour added. That was a printing error at the printers. There is no colour added to this.
Good.
Right. That's as it came, as it was mixed in the different types.
It's a valid question then.
It's a very, and I'm glad it was asked because I keep telling people this. I mean, we should really get rid of the cartons and get new ones printed, but to hand change all the bottles.
Sure.
It's a bit of a problem.
You're going to be sitting there for a long time, aren't you?
Yes. Oh, no, I wouldn't. John would. But the one point is that, see, when you taste this, the taste is immense. It actually tastes...
It's a wee bit tricky because you're not expecting that fizziness. It's sort of it's like a firecracker which just bursts in your mouth.
It's like bubbles of champagne.
You were expecting smoothness and roundness from the nose because it's quite creamy and all, and then it surprises you, and that's great. I mean, when you talk with somebody who surprises you, even with question or whatever, it's a sort of challenge you have on your taste bud here, and with water. It goes completely different. It is as if water sort of puts him a bit to sleep. So personally, I don't add much water, maybe just a drop, but I like it fizzy, I like it lively and vibrant, very vibrant.
Okay, well, whilst we're with you, Martine, just one comment in from Tom in Norway. Thank you, Tom, for the question, or at least the comment. He says, Martine, just to let you know, we've got some really good smoked cheeses in Norway, which go perfectly with this whiskey. Really good. So there you go. There's the comment from Norway, and there's another marriage made in heaven.
And maybe, well, if you can have what I call the bridge between the cheese and the whiskey, it's like oat cakes, or, well, oat cakes are really perfect, because you need to have something, cereal. In France, we eat our cheeses with bread, and sometimes butter for me, as I'm from Normandy, but not everybody does that.